Wendy from Chick-a-Woof Ranch, and we have been homesteading for about 5 years, and one of the first animals that we've acquired are our goats. We primarily have Nubians, but we have all dairy goats. And one of the reasons why we wanted dairy goats is because we wanted to use them for their milk. So what we want to talk about today is a little bit of the milking and how we store it and keep it and use it. These are my girls here, and I have a little sampling of our milk. With our dairy goats, there's 3 things primarily that we what we use or with the milk right now. We drink it raw, we cook with it, we also make cheese with it, and we also make goat's milk soap with it. So for all of these things, we obviously have a lot of goats here, and we get way more milk than we can consume on a daily or weekly basis. And we also don't have that many milk customers to be able to share that around with. So one of our mainstays is we have started to freeze it. These are some of our containers that we have used for freezing the milk. We have all different sizes. We generally try to reuse bottles, plastic bottles, that have not had milk in them, not store-bought milk. Our favorite container by far is actually just a 2-liter pop bottle. And the reason why we found out this year is that it thaws out really quickly, and we also go through it and drink it pretty quickly. So that way we're not freezing the larger containers, and when we're thawing it out and drinking it, sometimes you consume more than others in a daily or weekly basis, and this way the frozen milk gets drunk up pretty quickly. Okay. As I said, we found that one of our favorite containers is the 2-liter pop bottle. However, there's a couple of things you need to keep in mind when you're freezing your milk. First of all, with any container you choose, you need to leave enough space for the milk to expand when it's frozen, no matter what you decide to use. We have also decided to acquire a chest freezer, and we picked one up really cheap at a garage sale. So if you're going to be freezing the milk and you're freezing a lot of it, you're going to almost need a separate freezer for your milk. So the 2-liter pop bottles, well, they don't stack very well. We picked up a chest freezer rather than a stand-up freezer. That keeps things a lot longer, a little more indefinitely than your stand-up freezer. But if you're going to be consuming this within a 6-month period, you're probably fine anyway. One thing that most people don't know about with just raw goat's milk is that it's going to taste the same and look and act the same when you thaw it out as it did when it went in. So if your goats have gotten into some weeds that are not tasting really well and you've kind of gotten some bitter milk, you don't want to freeze that, because when you thaw it out, it's going to taste exactly the same. And Gaston's going to say hi. So that is another thing. When you're freezing your milk, you want to make sure, if you're freezing it for yourself, that you might want to date it. You can also keep the frozen milk for the babies or other animals around the farm too. So if you have orphan animals, goat's milk is universal milk for everybody. Lastly, one of the things I wanted to share, when we are making goat's milk soap, this is another good way to get rid of milk or save it or store it, is we use milk instead of water in our goat's milk soap recipe. We don't use any water at all. If there's water for the recipe, we substitute it out. So the best way to do that is to freeze your milk into an ice cube tray. And that's what we've done here. It's kind of in a cluster now, if you can see it. A couple of them stuck together. But we will pour the milk in our ice cube trays, freeze it, and then continue to keep popping them out, and then store them in a baggie. So this way, when we're making our milk and the lye heats up really fast, the frozen method keeps your milk from being scalded while you're making the soap. Finally, if you're considering having dairy goats and wondering about the milking season and caring for your goats, freezing your milk is another way to help shorten the milking season. Kidding usually happens in the spring, sometimes as early as January for some people, and then the goat will stay in milk as long as you continue to milk them or leave the babies on them. We generally milk twice a day, all the way into the fall. We usually go up until Christmas. But if you would like to shorten that and lessen your burden, freezing your milk's another way to do that. So while you have way too much milk that you can consume or make soap with or make cheese with or sell or give away, while their milk is fresh, freeze it in your containers, put it in your chest freezer, and thaw it out and drink it the rest of the time when you don't have any milk.